Good morning, everybody. Wednesday morning, cliffcentral.com on the 28th of July. And we are joined this morning by Mbulelo Tinta, by Michael Flax, and most especially by you. Yes. How's it, Flax? How you doing, dude?
Oh, feeling good, living better, life
Feeling good,
continues.
even though it's this, even though you were complaining like 5 seconds ago about how freezing cold it is. Horrible,
No,
right?
I
Only
complain.
only the wicked people wake up at this time in the morning in this cold.
I complain, but I have solutions for the cold.
What's the solution?
I think I have an iron deficiency, so I'm going to go get that checked out this week. Because apparently,
Really?
if you're low in iron, you feel a lot colder. So I'm going to go for one. I've never been for one, but I was researching it last night. I'm going to go for one of those full blood works where they check out like
Everything.
your iron levels.
Yep.
And I was watching. I don't know if you've seen that series on Netflix called The Good Doctor. But I was inspired by watching that, and I was like, let me just get myself checked out. I don't even know where to go. Do you go to like a normal doctor for that?
You'd go to the pathologists. They'll do a little blood sample. You have to give them about 17 liters of blood. No, I'm kidding. It's about.
You can do a finger prick now. You can do a finger prick.
Really? You don't have to give them the whole test tube full?
No, we don't need to.
Really?
We don't need to donate to the blood bank. I mean, we come on, guys. It's 2021.
That's good news.
We're not still doing. If a woman can read, we kind of deem her a witch or chop her head off.
Oh, I thought that was still going. All right. Well, what a pity. I had several witches I was ready to burn this afternoon. Now you've put a huge spanner in the works. What am I going to do now?
Burn
am I going to burn myself today?
Burn the witch.
These iron deficiencies or whatever else it is. I mean, like there are a lot of people who suffer from all kinds of chemical imbalances. I mean, you could get it all checked out now, and then they'll be able to. The turnaround time is so quick as well because the machine does it. It's not even humans who are doing it, but it used to be that someone would have to observe it, do all the chemical tests one by one. That's also why they needed a lot of blood, right, Mbulelo?
Yeah, no, back then, and plenty of mistakes back then. But now, have you ever seen how those machines get it going? It's like a
centrifuge.
Yeah, it is a centrifuge
or something.
Yeah, and then it gets all the red blood cells down to the bottom. You got what do they call that stuff? The in between stuff, not serum. What is it? Blood. God, I've just gone completely blank on this. I can't remember. Anyway, I mean, it's a pretty interesting thing to be able to do. I'd actually love to have a pathologist on the show one day to explain how all that stuff works because it's pretty amazing. I mean, that we've got people who wake up in the morning and go and do these tests, and they obviously think it's just my job, And for us, it's just amazing. It's amazing to see what they get up to.
You figure out your whole body.
Yeah,
you figure out how your body operates, why it does things. I just wish I could read the report instead of them because I don't trust the doctors afterwards in case they miss something. So I'd like to be able to read their report, stare at it for a couple of days.
And you're going to know what they're talking about?
And you'll know.
How cool that would be. You'd be like, oh, my bilirubin's high or low, or my iron's high or low, and this is what I got to do. And then you don't have to just take someone's word for it. You can actually just form your own solid opinion.
Yeah, but you're not going to know what the hell to look for in a report like that. You know what it means.
Yeah, but if I did, you see, I would take that report, I would take it to 2 doctors afterwards just to be sure. And that's the kind of thing I would do.
Sound a bit paranoid there.
I just want to understand the inner workings of my body, why I'm cold, why I do this, or why I'm tired sometimes.
Why you're cold has nothing to do with the inside works. It has to do with the miserable temperature of the outside world. That's what it is.
No, but like you have your levels of being cold, and then there's me, who's on like the far end of this, and I need to figure out why my hands are cold and why I get colder than others.
You probably got bad circulation.
Yes, so apparently iron will sort out bad circulation, and I can't be the only one with bad circulation in this world.
It'll help, but I mean, circulation is also a heart thing, so it might not have anything to do with your iron levels. It might have to do with your heart just not pumping the blood around properly. That could be it.
Underlying effects, and I need to go to a cardiologist as well.
Oh my
Oh,
lord, this guy.
Okay, now you know what you've just done? You've just spent like 15 grand without even getting a result.
I have a diagnosis before I've gone in from Google.
I know. Listen, that's the worst thing you can do is go online
Yeah.
and get a doctor, an online WebMD opinion, because they always tell you you've got cancer. You're definitely going to die, right? You go into WebMD, you've got a sore throat. They're like, oh, no, it's definitely cancer, because you know what happens.
Do you
They
know
line
this?
up all the different symptoms, and they're like, these are the 4 possible things you could have, and then you go, oh God, I've got 5 minutes to live.
Do you
It's
know
a
there's like
disaster.
online doctors whereby so I had a knee operation like a few months ago for my meniscus, and I wanted a second opinion on the ultrasounds and the MRIs. You can
Yeah.
literally take the they give you like a disc and they put the MRI on the disc. You can take that file and you can pay a doctor like, I think it was like $30 online, and he can review it and he can send you basically an email back on his opinion for that MRI.
Now, I'm all in favor of that. That sounds very efficient. That sounds like, I mean, all they're doing is really looking at a record, and then they're busy deducing from that what the hell's going on inside you and where you need to be careful. And that's cool. But you can also get really paranoid about these things. I mean, if you look for a problem, you'll find it.
But my
Isn't that
parents
true?
raised me that you always get a second opinion from another doctor if it's like a serious case. Do you guys do that?
Well, I mean, if it's a serious case, but if my regular MD, if my regular general practitioner says to me, it looks like you have flu, then that's sufficient. I don't need to go and get a second opinion on that. I mean, if it's important stuff, if it's like, something I need to have an operation for, which thank God hasn't happened for a long time.
That's where the money's at. It's these big ticket items. So people are quick to pick up the scalpel and say, oh, it's this, you need an operation. That's what scares me in today's society.
Oh, dude. But like that's always the last resort. Mbulelo, have you ever been for a serious operation?
I did my ACL as when I played football, but
right.
Other than that, zip.
What is that again? The anterior cruciate ligament, right? Ligament.
Correct. Very, very common. It's like the common cold if you play football. It's
in the knee.
Correct.
Yeah.
I went to get my meniscus portion removed, and I was like, how common is this? And they told me it's as common as getting your wisdoms out back in the day.
Okay. My meniscus. It's not something you bring up at a braai. You're like, I had my meniscus operated on last week. So I was like, oh Jesus, that's disgusting. Please don't bring that up while we're busy with the chops.
You have no idea. You should bring up knee operations. They are so common. I've been to braais where I've been like, oh no, I haven't been running much because I had my meniscus repaired or removed. And people at the braai are like, oh, same here. I had ACL like 3 weeks ago. Which doctor did you use? It is a great talking topic for braais. if there's any injury that you have commonality with people, it's got to be knee injuries.
That is all old people do, is compare like war injuries and injuries of the body and problems and saw this and saw that. I can't have those conversations with people. Certain conversations get very boring very quickly. And if you're looking for things and you need to find something to talk about, sure. But please, you can do this for Michael Flax. If you meet him at a braai, go for it. But if you meet me at a braai, exactly, talk about his meniscus. But if you meet me at a braai, let's just avoid that conversation. I'm not going to stay interested for very long. So Vince wants to know, Mbulelo, did Tatiana Schoenmaker make the Olympic team's veldskoene?
That took me a second. Very good. To be determined. If the shoe fits.
Yeah. Also, Henry says doctors aren't exactly cashing in these days with elective surgeries being put on hold. That's true. There are lots of doctors who can't actually do the elective surgeries that they would normally do because they've got no space in the hospitals for them with COVID and everything. So a lot of doctors are sitting at home. A lot of doctors have to do the stuff that they normally wouldn't be doing. They're not in surgery, and certainly during a time when the hospitals are overrun, then you're not going to find space in there for all that kind of thing. So there are a lot of doctors running around with time on their hands at the moment.
But they're still doing like consults via Zoom or thing and charging the exact same price.
Yeah, I mean, their qualification is not diminished just because they can't see you in a hospital. You still need them to do the guesswork if there's something wrong or there's something that you need to check out, right?
Yeah,
Listen,
Flax, what you want? A hug and a sucker? What do
yeah,
you,
what do you
what do you
want?
want the doctor?
What do you want from them? Is that what you go for?
I shouldn't be told everything will be all right.
Okay.
Patients who Google are a doctor's biggest eye roll, says Tracy. Oh, yeah. Yeah, ask a doctor. Well, I looked this up on Google. They go, like, oh no, this idiot. Now they think they're an MD as well.
My doctor hates me because the first few seconds I'm in there, I'm giving him my diagnosis, and then I want his diagnosis, and then we'll compare notes afterwards.
No, I can already tell I'd hate to be your doctor. If I were your doctor,
I would hate to be my doctor.
Oh man! All right. So, what's been going on, Flax? What's the news in your world? We need to get an update. It's been a little while.
My world's exciting. I started a new job since we last spoke, so that's been keeping me very busy. That's my
You've been moving around like a whore from job to job, hey?
I know this is my third job during a pandemic, but all good moves and all productive moves in the right direction. So I now I work for a company called 365 Digital, and I work on the TikTok app, putting advertising on there, which is a lot of fun.
That's very good.
Awesome.
That's very good. Nice stuff. I mean, it's TikTok is just growing in leaps and bounds, right? I mean, there's so much going on that app at the moment. There isn't a day now where I don't get, and I'm not on TikTok, but I get forwarded TikTok videos from people all the time. It's where all the funny stuff is happening. It's where all the interesting stuff is happening. Like, you cannot afford not to be on there if you are, a content creator. You have to be on TikTok.
I was chatting to a mate last night, and he'd never ever used TikTok. And then we got into the discussion of how the youths nowadays are completely different to what we are and what we like. He's like, what music do they like? And I was like, mumble rap, like these rap songs, you can't even hear what they're saying. And he's like, what do they like to do? And I'm like, their parties are completely different to the parties we had. And everything the youths like 16 and up, I battled to understand. Like, I went to a club in Cape Town, I think it was like 2 years ago, and I walked in and it was like a much younger crowd.
Yeah.
I've never heard the songs before. I've never seen those dance moves before. I was like in a different universe. I just don't get it.
Yes.
So do you have a cool like title, Michael? I know you saying the youth, but are you still in your 20s?
So I'm 28, creeping up 29 in September.
Okay. But now, do you have like one of those cool guy titles before you get your latte, like Chief Experience Motivational Officer, like whatever these new age terms are? Well, what is your term at your new place?
Oh, it's TikTok client partner.
Oh, okay. Anticlimax. Okay.
That doesn't sound as
it's pretty cool.
Experiential and satisfaction officer. Everybody's trying to come up with, like, I tried to think of cool titles for everybody at Cliff Central once, but it became so frustrating because you can eventually call people whatever the hell they want to be called. And I've never really been attached to titles. So the only time I ever say what I really do is if someone asks to have like a CV to introduce me or whatever. Like there's a paragraph about this long that I put together. It's like, this is who I am to people who've never heard of me before. And you'd be surprised how hard it is to actually write that paragraph. You'd be surprised how difficult it is to sit down and go, okay, these are the things I've done. This is the stuff I care about. This is who I am. It's hard. Like, you don't know what to call yourself. I don't care what the title is. With Cliff Central, I just go with founder because that sounds cool. And founders are all the rage all over the world at the moment. But like, what do you do? In the old days, you would have called yourself director or managing director or CEO. But none of those titles mean a damn thing to me. So you could call me Chief Shithead, and I'd be fine with it as well.
When I was at Cliff Central, I went from intern to field producer to technical producer to producer.
That's right. That's right. That's exactly what happened. Oh my God. All right. So everything's happening in your life. You've got into your third job now since the pandemic started. What do you think of people? I mean, it sounds to me like you move very quickly from one thing to the next, and it's pretty awesome that you you're able to find something that you like doing every time. Some people complain. Hey, they complain. Oh, it's so hard to find a job. Oh, it's so hard to do this. I mean, like, I know what your one of your characteristics is, because you used to work for me, and you're just not afraid of anything. You'll do anything. You'll do whatever it takes to do the job. And I think that that's probably something that's missing from a lot of people. They don't want to do stuff that is outside their wheelhouse. They don't want to do things that are unfamiliar to them. You'll learn on the job.
Very true. And I learn really quickly because I understand patterns and then sort of quicker ways of getting stuff done. And also to like getting the job. It's some people make it very technical where they have to phone every company, etc. So all these moves, I was poached on LinkedIn. And some of the strategies I used was you just go on LinkedIn and you type in HR or talent acquisition, and you just start adding random people on LinkedIn. And then they start looking at your profile and being like, I actually have a client that matches this guy's description. And then they'll just slide in your DMs. So that's a little hack you can use.
That's useful. I actually got onto LinkedIn yesterday, and Barrett, who works for us now, he's in our sales. He's our sales guy. I mean, talking about titles, I don't know what to call him, sales manager or whatever. So Barrett was saying to me, there's this thing that you do on LinkedIn which tells you what your social value score or something is. And basically what it does is it takes your whole network and it figures out what your rank is in your own field. So, in my case, it would be what media or advertising or, podcasting or broadcasting, whatever it is. And then it calculates out of 100 what your score is. And then it also calculates the average in your category. And then it figures out how you're positioned in your own network. So if I have like 11,000 connections on LinkedIn, then it'll rank me out of 11,000 and tell me how important I am, which is pretty. That's so weird because in the past you never got anything close to that. You'd have to figure it out while you were talking to someone, whether or not they were in a more influential position than you were, or whether they were more important than you were in their company, whether they were the kind of person who hired somebody or the kind of person who was hired by somebody. Now you can figure all this stuff out at the touch of a button. And he was showing me stuff that I've never seen on LinkedIn before. There are like pages you can get on LinkedIn that it's freaky, like what they've got going on there. It's pretty bizarre. It's like a social rank system. You get points. People decide how much they need to or don't need to get to know you. It's pretty wild.
I'd love to know my social rank on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find the link.
But having said that, something that I had forgotten about human beings, and I probably see it more in Joburg because I have to work with more people here than I did in Cape Town. But as soon as people ask me what I do for a living, because I know what people are actually doing is how much should I value you, is that's what they're really doing? Because I find it such an incredibly boring question. I always say I'm a cleaner. I have a stock standard answer now, because then I'd like to know what you actually think of me. Do we carry on?
You're a cleaner.
I say to everybody, I'm a cleaner.
What do people say when you tell them you're a cleaner?
They don't know what to do. I mean, it's like because they can see what I'm doing. I think eventually they kind of figure out this guy's just a douchebag. But I'm like, okay, let's say I said I'm a chartered accountant. Or are we carrying on the conversation? Well, why are you asking me what I do for a living? It's not the most interesting thing about me.
Yes, but it does help you figure. People aren't always doing it so they can pull rank. Like sometimes they're actually, but they're also doing it sometimes because they need to have some kind of handle on you. They need to figure out whether or not the next 10 minutes of talking to you is going to be useful, interesting, or not particularly fun. I mean, like if someone says to me, "I'm a social justice warrior," or I'm an activist, I'm like, oh Jesus, I need to get away from this person immediately. Because I know that within 2 seconds of them telling me that, they're going to start to irritate me and annoy me, and I'm going to irritate them as well. So step away from the person with the activist badge on. Get away from them. Bad news. Not my scene. That's helpful.
Also, the people I can't stand. I loathe people that have, I'm a philanthropist. No, listen, sweet cheeks. You don't get a prize for just being a nice person. Who philanthropist? That's not a job title. Being nice to people is not a title. Like, I expect that. I don't say to my mom, birth giver, on like, when I tell people, I don't go, birth giver, milk producing nipple haver. That's not something you put on. We're not doing that.
That's what some people want to call
Oh.
mothers, because they don't like the idea of mother because it's gender specific. So they say primary parental caregiver. That's what they call mothers in in these very politically correct conversations. You'll see like the very PC people, they don't say mother. They go primary parental caregiver.
What is wrong with mother?
No. It's because what if you're a man, but you're playing the role of the mother? There was this dude on, you talk about TikTok. There was this dude who put out a TikTok video the other day. He's a guy, a big fat guy, and he's got big fat guy titties, and he was trying to breastfeed a child he'd adopted from his man titties. And I'm thinking this is some kind of child abuse, because this is a man doing this, but he's like transgender, and his partner, who's also a man, is transgender, and the two of them are trying to like pretend to be, basically it's role play. It's like cosplay, and the two of them are trying to breastfeed this kid, but neither of them have titties that produce milk. It's the dumbest thing you've ever seen in your life, and all of us are expected to go along with it. They're like, oh, well, I'm trying really hard. And the worst part is this guy has a speech impediment, and he sounds like, so he's pathetic. He's this pathetic little man, and not little, he's a big fat man, and he's like stuffing his big man tit into this poor child's mouth. And obviously the child's not going to get any sustenance from this. And I'm thinking the whole time, surely this is abuse of some kind, because everyone is expected to go along with this person's role play, their cosplay, while they're pretending to be a mother. But they're a man. I lose all ability to be politically correct here. I'm like, nah, you're just a fucking disaster. There's nothing about you that's interesting or cool anymore. You are dangerous to society. And that poor child, like, what's that kid going to grow up with?
It can't be healthy.
How?
No, it's going
from a psychology perspective. Once the child realizes that it's not a female breast that's producing milk, I think confusion kicks in as to why.
You know, there's a great saying for this. The great Richard Dawkins has an awesome way of putting this. He said, we should be open-minded, but not so open-minded that our brains fall out. Like, what is...
No, this is a real thing.
But the guy's... Wait, he's breastfeeding as a man.
I'll show you a picture of him so you don't think I'm making this up, because people will go, oh, Gareth, what are you looking for the most outrageous thing on the internet this morning just to piss people off? I promise you, this didn't come up. It wasn't on my agenda today. Here is the actual picture of the person who's doing this and the poor child that is being traumatized from birth. Look at this.
Oh, was this a real picture?
Look at that, dude. It's for real. It's not bullshit. This is a guy who thinks he can get away with this shit.
Are you sure that's a guy? Because those are some breasts.
I swear to God, that's a guy. He may have had like surgery to make himself fake breasts, but he can't produce milk. This is a waste of the child's time.
What on God's green earth?
I know. Try to have a sense of humor about it. Listen, it's interesting until you think about the fact that poor kid has to grow up with that nutcase of a man. Surely. Like that person, Child Protection Services will come and arrest you in America and even in South Africa, frankly, if you discipline your child. Like, let's say your kid is running around outside and you say to them, stop running around because there's something, there's some dangerous thing on the lawn or whatever, and they don't listen to you, and you give them a smack. And like the next door neighbor sees that and they can call Child Protection Services, and your kid basically gets taken away from you. Or like a social worker pitches up and goes, excuse me, Mr. Flax, it seems that you smacked your child and that's not allowed. So we're going to be watching you very carefully for the next week. Now, this guy should be watched by Child Protection Services, right?
Absolutely. He's
horrible. So it's something seriously wrong with society. And the fact that we have to prioritize his role play over the child's well-being, that's a very depraved society that goes along with that crap. Very depraved.
It's because anything's permissible now. So any pushback, you're what? us three would be called toxic. What would we be called? Michael Flax, you'd probably know. You're in the TikTok world now. We're toxic men saying that man can't produce milk. No. There's biology, which is hard set. We're talking about, depending what you believe, shout out to the Jesus people. It's not actually 6,000 years. It's about 4.6 billion years of incremental steps forward to help the next generation survive. You don't get to decide what your nipples produce.
No.
Like, sorry, pal.
And also, what goes on in your head is your business. The rest of us don't have to play along with it. You might think you're a fucking hockey stick. That's your business. The rest of us don't have to play along with your stupid hockey stick fantasy, you know? Unbelievable.
Yeah, this world's changed a lot since I was growing up.
Dude, and it continues to. And most of these nutcases are busy on social media putting out videos every day. Trust me, they're all busy. So Silas agrees with us. Silas says it's abuse. Sunri says achania sis. Tracy says wait till he breastfeeds that kid when he starts teething. Diogenes says, does anyone ask if it's okay for the kid so that he can serve his sick need? Yeah, exactly. That's the point. Good Cop says, good morning, all. Hey, Good Cop. Mbulelo, you Nazi, says Graham. Bronwyn says, exactly. Slap him. There we go. These are the kinds of comments that ordinary, not completely self-absorbed people would make.
And also, what about the baby's rights? Because have you ever hugged anybody with long hair and then you get like just a little bit of hair in your mouth? The baby's probably going, oh, this is gross. I can't even speak whatever language. And now I don't even have, I don't even have the strength in my hand yet, sort of any dexterity to go, oh, let me take this hair out of my mouth because you're a disgusting, gross, fat man. Poor baby.
It's so gross. You know what? Like people are just, everybody's just sitting around screaming. Not everybody. Most of us, are getting on with our lives. There are a group of people in the world who are just screaming, love me, love me, love me. Pay attention to me, pay attention to me, pay attention to me. I didn't get enough love as a kid. Look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me. And it's ridiculous. Like we are not required to get involved in your fantasies and your psychological problems, right?
Yeah.
None of our business.
I got my own stuff going on.
Some people just want to be like statement pieces that walk around on this earth.
Yeah. They think they're a work of art. They think that they're there to be marveled at by the rest of us. And I'm sorry, we've all got shit to do.
They want to be like not born interesting, stand out.
No.
Well said, Markle.
Anyway, so listen. Now that we're able to drink again, as Simpiwe said on the show yesterday, are you planning anything for the weekend, Flax? Have you got any social plans? Because I think people are missing. They're missing out.
So for some reason, all my friends are born in July. So I had a birthday party on Saturday, one on Sunday, one last night. I have one tonight. I have one on Saturday. It is the most expensive month of the year. I'm so sick of drinking tequila and buying birthday presents. At what age can you stop buying birthday presents?
Never
Nobody
stop.
needs presents. Don't get me started on this, Michael. You don't know what can of worms you've opened here. Nobody needs presents.
You do presents.
All right, Mbulelo, get it out of your system, because I know that people think that you're curmudgeonly and angry, but you ain't seen nothing yet. Here's Mbulelo at his best when you talk about birthday presents or gender reveal parties. He loves those.
Oh my God.
You have to buy presents for people.
No.
People, yes, you do, for their birthdays, especially if it's family, if it's close, if it's really good friends, you have to buy them birthday presents. Come on, Mbulelo, you can't be that much of a miserable person.
Listen, I've always said I try and keep friends that are on my level. They don't have to be wealthy, but they must be working. I'm old enough now to have worked long enough to get all of the stuff that I want, right? Plus, I've spent 35 years living up till this stage. I know what I like. The only present I want, Marco, if you ever come, money. Because you know why? I already know what I want. And by the way, let me tell you the problem with
you are.
Let me tell you the problem with presents is that the giver always makes it about them, because what they want for you to go, oh my God, I love it. I want the right to go, I hate this present, take it back. This is not what I want. Take it back. You ever done that, Michael? Because I have done it, and boy, oh boy, do people get upset.
I've done it once, and my auntie gave me a jersey which literally looked like a Technicolor dream coat. It was 50,000 different colors. And I said straight, listen, this is not my style. I'm taking it back. And she agreed.
Yeah. But
you can be honest with people.
Give
As
them
long as
money.
you have the receipt. If there's no receipt, you just accept.
Damon used to wear those jerseys that his mother made for him. And they were Naomi Calvari originals. They were like a rainbow as well. And he loved them. And they were like a character thing for him. But I understand. Like if someone gives me clothing that I'll never wear, I take it with grace. I never say to them, I'm going to throw this away as soon as your back is turned. I go, oh, that's so nice. And then I just put it in a drawer.
Back in the day, the standard gifts were either a Musica gift card, which you always lost and never used, or a Santon City shopping card.
I got speaking of these gift cards, I got a Sorbet Man gift card from somebody about 2, maybe even 3 years ago. And it was in my wallet, and it was in my wallet, and it was in my wallet, and I had it for fucking months. I never did anything with it. And then I went there a little while ago for a haircut, and I used the card. I had there was $400 or $500 on there that I hadn't used before. I thought I'd won the lottery. It was fantastic. Seriously,
wait, they let you use it?
Yep, it didn't expire.
Is it like cryptocurrency now?
Dude, I don't know, but it was. I think I might even still have the card. There's still some money on there. But it was so cool because I didn't have to pay. I was ready to use the credit card and all that shit. They said use the Sorbet gift card. I used it and it was fantastic. I felt like
Actually,
what else doesn't expire?
What?
Money.
Yeah, I know.
Apparently on a gift card it does. Those Santon City shopping gift cards used to expire.
Money, Michael, give me cold hard cash. I keep it. I know what I like. I'll buy. You know what? If I wanted that multicolored jersey your aunt, I'd buy it. I have the money. I have. You know what? I'm parsimonious at the best of times. I've got disposable income. Don't worry about it, sweet cheeks. Give me money. I know what I want. Hey, there we go. Problem solved.
Amazingly, your birthday, so I can mug you because I know how much cash you're going to have.
A lot of people somehow are agreeing with Mbulelo here. They're all saying, yeah. This is the right attitude to have because you don't want anything but cash. So plenty of people agreeing with you. I mean, here's Good Cop saying that's what he's like. He also doesn't believe in presents. Just give him money.
Because I already know what I want. The thing is, I already know what I want. There's nothing anybody can buy me that I don't know that I want at my age.
But then why don't you just send out a gift list to your friends before your birthday of what you want?
Michael, there is a gift list. It's called my bank account. There we go. There we go. The EFT in there.
It must be so boring to be your friend when your birthday rolls around. You're scared to pick up the phone. You're like, it's Mbulelo's birthday. What am I going to? Maybe I should I call him? Should I not call him? If I don't call him, is he going to be cross with me?
It's an expensive call. It's going to cost me $200.
Yeah, if I do call him, is he going to be annoyed with me? Like, what if I wanted to buy him a present? Oh fuck, I better not buy him a present because then he's going to get cross. Like you're a horrible person to be friends with.
I disagree because I make my point very clear to those that are close to me. Being born is not an amazing thing. Stop saying happy birthday like you've done something special. Keep living.
It's an amazing thing.
Be productive. You're like stop. You were born. You don't get a happy birthday. You were born.
You know what we call people like you in Yiddish? We call you vercriminus. You're a misery. You know. What a horrible life you lead if these are the kinds of things that you get cross about. It's unbelievable. You're no fun at all.
You're celebrating the fact you made it another year in this world. You have no right to wake up the next day. No one is given that privilege. You need to be grateful every time you wake up in the morning or a year goes by.
Listen to Flax.
Every day is a gift, Flax. I'm with you. Every day is a gift, not my birthday. Like, wow, you were born. So is amoeba. Like, the amoeba lives. It's every day is amazing.
Why is Bololelo in such a bad mood? Says Ashley. He's not actually. This is
I
how
had to look at my face in the mirror. That's
everything with Mbulelo is a social experiment. Even being kind to him is scrutinized. He needs to learn how to just roll with it. Spot on. That's exactly right.
People don't
Graham
even
said,
have to wish
okay,
you happy
you Jehovah
birthday.
Witness. You know, like Jehovah's Witnesses, they aren't meant to celebrate their birthdays, right?
No, they don't
Why don't they
celebrate anything.
celebrate birthdays?
No, that's just not a thing in their religion.
Oh, yeah,
They
that's
like
a whole.
they like Mbulelo. They've institutionalized the idea of gift giving and making a fuss of people on their birthdays. Cizi says, getting birthday presents just puts pressure on me when I have to buy presents for other people. It has to be in the same price range, and it is exhausting.
100% tit for tat.
Yeah, if someone gets you a really great present, then you have to get them a really great present, right?
Yeah, but as you grow up, the presents you have to get people are more expensive. So you use herd mentality, where you just get a whole bunch of people in and you get something cool, and you don't have to spend more than you did.
Yeah. Mbulelo deserves socks for his birthday.
He just wants
Ashley
a debit
says,
order for his birthday.
Ashley says, this is unpleasant. Let's move on. Ashley, you're not in charge of the show, so get fucked. Sven says, Mbulelo needs a puss clap. I agree with Mbulelo, says Carl. Who gives a shit? Well done. You breathed another 12 months. Stefan says, what a nihilist.
What's a nihilist?
You want to take this one? You like this. Nihilist's basically someone who believes it's all futile. What's the point? Life is meaningless. There's no need to worry about this shit. Let's just die.
No, I'm the opposite of nihilist. Yeah, I'm the opposite. I overthink and the beauty of being here every day. So no, opposite of nihilist.
Okay, let's do what Ashley said and move on anyway. There is some other stuff to talk about. So how's the Olympics going? Mbulelo, you're doing a sports show. Let's have a little Olympic update this morning. Give us some interesting stuff that's been happening in the last 2 days.
So I will say this. I've always said I'm a hypocrite. I'm happy to change my mind immediately when something goes well for me. Bianca Buitendijk, who we had on the show actually a while back when we started Cliff Central Sport, now a silver medalist in the surfing. So shout out to her and Victoria Bay. So which is, I'm not surprised if anybody doesn't know, that is in the middle of nowhere, by the way. Yeah, so silver medalist. She rocked it yesterday. Man,
great.
So we got 2 silver medals now. And we're doing all of the things at the Olympics. Simone Biles, yeah, that was awesome, dude. She's cool. She's also not like no ego, like small town girl. So yeah, we got to back her. I know. Now, yesterday I did say there should be no surfing, but as a South African right now, I'll take anything that's positive. So
do we know which country has the most gold medals?
Right now, I think Japan are winning, but America are coming. I haven't seen the update. But America, now the swimming started, the track stuff's going to start. America and China are going to disappear. The gymnastics is going on.
I know I sound like an idiot here, but how does it actually work? Do you have an upper limit on how many people you can send to the Olympic Games? Or is it just however many qualify for a particular discipline?
Exactly. No, there's no, I mean, if you can fill up the lane 1 to 8 with, but listen, to qualify at the Olympics, to produce enough people to qualify, you've got to be. And listen, the Olympics are a good indicator of which countries take themselves seriously, because you can see who's kind of got the time to develop an Olympic team. You always look at that ladder for the countries that take themselves the most seriously. So you'll see China, America.
China take it super seriously. And
America.
Russia, the Russians and America, yeah.
Well, Russia took it a little bit too seriously. They did some what you may call state doping. So now they have to compete under...
Yeah,
they've got a complete ROC. They are now. They're not competing under the Russian flag, because some of the Russian athletes are competing under neutral flags. There's a whole scene there. Yeah.
Wait, did someone get caught doping?
Yeah, it's a little country called Russia.
The whole of Russia just always are doping. Always.
No, but it was a huge. So Flax, you like documentaries? You can go and watch the documentary. I'm not sure if it was on HBO or anyway. So the doctor who is currently being held in, I think, by the CIA. So he comes on. There's a whole expose about the Russian doping for 2018, I think it was.
So what is this shit about Simone Biles, who had to take a mental break in the middle of the team competition? What the hell is this all about? Since when is this a thing that people do? I thought she was this brilliant athlete that was going to win all the golds. Mental break. Yeah. You're at the Olympics. Get on with it. You don't even have a crowd to watch you. What mental break do you need? Do you?
No crowds.
No crowds, because it's coronavirus, isn't it? So they don't have any audiences. Yeah. Horrible.
Who's funding this? Are we funding them to be there?
Well, not all of them,
No,
Michael. Just
So
our guys.
Here's the story. So this Simone Biles, she just walked out on her team.
She shouldn't just walk out on her team. You're making it like that. She fell
She did.
first.
She needed
She
a
didn't just
mental
walk.
break.
Yeah,
What's her
it's an
problem?
But you know where we're going as society now is if you dare even shout at a child, as you said earlier, if you spank your child. I didn't even know that was a thing. Where what they call child services now, is that a real thing? Were you being serious about that? I caught that earlier.
Yes.
But so what? Children can call child services to say
on their parents. Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, well that's why we have.
Don't
So
change the
Naomi,
subject. Why did Simone Biles walk out on her team?
no,
It's her story.
Listen, it's all coming from a lady called Naomi Osaka, who is the number one tennis player in the world at the moment. Naomi has refused to go to a press conference as a tennis player, and she said, my mental health, this, that, the other. And I always advocate for athletes, by the way. But now is, again, this is the young society that I see, and I always employ young people, so I know what the mentality is now, is everybody wants the good part. When you have to do the sour part, right?
Yeah.
Come to the media, it's now mental abuse. Oh, I'll take the $20 million that you're paying me. So now it's becoming about mental health. Like, no. Listen, there must be some suffering in order to earn $20 million a year. So I know it's probably mentally draining or whatever, but sorry, man. You're getting...
Get on with it. Do the work.
To whom much is given, much is expected. And I have no empathy at all.
At the end of the day.
No.
Do me a
if
favor.
they need a timeout, a time to regroup.
Yeah, but then don't go to the Olympics then, you weakling. If you want to be in the Olympics, I'm not interested in your mental health. Do the goddamn gymnastics. Get on that horse, or the what do they call it? What do they call the thing? The horse.
The vault, I guess.
Get on there. Stop. Me mental health. Shut up. You're at the Olympics. Do the Olympic stuff, please.
No. I totally agree. Mental health is real, but if you're getting $20 million a year, do me a favor. Please.
Carl says, for fuck's sake, Flax, catch a wake up. He doesn't know about the Russian doping. He doesn't know about the empty stadiums. The fuck. Maybe he doesn't care about the Olympics.
Much TV. I haven't watched the Olympics once. I didn't even know they won, to be honest.
Okay. You know what I'm going to do? I feel like taking a mental break from the show. I'm just going to stop the show right now.
No, it's good. You must protect you need a safe space. You do need a safe space.
Take a leaf out of Naomi Osaka or Simone Biles' book and just, I need a mental break. So I'm just going to dump the show and just switch off. I'm just going to end the broadcast right now. How about that?
Oh, you're so brave. You're so brave, Gareth.
Stressful. That's why you go to the Olympics. If you can't handle it, don't go to the Olympics. You want the gold medals, but you don't want to have to deal with a little bit of anxiety before you do your event. Where?
Do you just have one shot at the Olympics? Is it just one round?
You can get, if you time it right and your age is right and you're at your best form, you might be able to do 2 or 3 Olympics. I mean, some of the swimmers have done 4.
Yeah, no, but once you're there, let's say this year, do you just get one swimming race and that's it? Or do you compete in multiple?
One. That's the whole point. It's
going to be stressful. You got one shot.
Yes.
No. Flax. This lady is the greatest. She's the greatest American gymnast of all time. I believe 9 gold medals already. So you're not talking about somebody who's just come through and it's like their last opportunity in life. She's going to make $10 million a year for the rest of her life, even if she stopped now. She's only 24 years old, Simone Biles. Hey, Flax, talk about, since you don't watch Olympics, how do you feel about this? A 13-year-old Japanese kid won a gold medal. She's now the Olympic gold medalist for skateboarding. Your thoughts, Michael Flax?
Probably doping.
All right. Okay. So there's we haven't got to headlines because the main headline this morning has to do with our guest that's joining us in a moment, Sean Sanders, who we know from Revix. Hey, Sean, how's it going, man?
Morning, guys. Yeah, that was such a good segue into the show. Talking about doping. I mean, the crypto market's literally been stories of last week, right? Like completely wild rides.
So listen to this. The price of some cryptocurrencies have surged this morning after retailer Amazon revealed it was hiring an expert in the field. Amazon advertised for a digital currency and blockchain product lead to look at how Amazon customers pay. And Bitcoin rose from $29,000 to more than $39,000 per coin on Monday, the largest growth it has shown in several weeks, Ethereum and Dogecoin also saw gains. However, Amazon has not confirmed any plans to accept cryptocurrency payments despite the speculation. But it looks like that's likely to happen at some point, right?
Yeah, so this is mainstream adoption, right? I mean, we are now living through it. It's quite exciting. So it was Amazon. I mean, Amazon has denied it, by the way. So they came out, and I'll actually read to you exactly what they said. So they said, notwithstanding our interest in the space, the speculation that has ensued around our specific plans for cryptocurrencies is not true. We remain focused on exploring what this could look like for our customers shopping on Amazon in the future. I mean, kind of an interesting response. But yes, they still have this job post out there, and they are looking to explore digital currencies. And I mean, it's not just Amazon that's getting involved in this space. I mean, there was the B-Word conference that took place earlier this week. It was all over the news. That had Elon Musk from Tesla, Jack Dorsey from Twitter, and you had Kathy from ARK Investments. I mean, they were all talking about investing in crypto. So you've got big tech in crypto at the moment.
We know Kathy, don't we? Everybody, you remember Kathy.
Kathy Wood.
Hey, old Kath, eh? She's a beauty, that she's like.
So all of these Kathy Wood is like this idol in the investing space, by the way. So when I refer to Kathy, it is like, you know, when somebody makes a joke about Karen. I mean, Kathy Wood is like the Warren Buffett, just the female version.
All right. This conference that they went to, what is it called? The B-Word?
The B-Word conference. It was actually hosted by Kathy.
Yeah.
That's why she wasn't picking up the phone, because I called her because we had a thing on. Okay, she was at the B-Word.
You and Kathy
with good old Jack and good old Muskie. Yeah.
So what did that idiot Jack Dorsey have to say?
He is very pro Bitcoin. I mean, you've seen what he looks like. He is a very alternative sort of figure, but I mean, he's explicitly stated that Bitcoin is going to be a bigger part of Twitter's future, and it's already a big part of Cash App, which is the other business that he's involved with. He's a proponent of Bitcoin. I mean, he kind of fits right there into the Bitcoin maximalist crowd. I mean, this guy, he is like, his life is into Bitcoin right now, which is really interesting. Good for us, good for our space. But he's an interesting character.
Well, that may be the only thing about Jack Dorsey I like, is that he's pro Bitcoin, because he looks like a man who's just climbed out of the trees at the moment, with that beard and that wild hair, and also that whole, hey man, like I'm from San Francisco, talking slowly kind of thing. He's a Bitcoin maximalist, huh? And what about Elon? Did he clear up any of the confusion that he sowed over the last 6 months about Bitcoin? Because he's really been irresponsible. He's affected the trades in big ways.
Oh, massively. And it's not going to stop, right? Elon was pro Bitcoin. He said Tesla would look at accepting Bitcoin again in the future. What does that mean? But the market responded very positively to that. But he can flick-flack, right? I mean, Elon just likes to get an audience. And at the end of the day, this is a big PR stunt for him. So we must just keep that in mind. The market will undoubtedly get some other interesting news over the next little while from Elon. So watch that space.
And don't respond to everything that these guys say. I mean, don't go and buy and sell based on them. Buy and sell because you know there's underlying value. That's what you've said from the get-go, right, Sean?
100%. Look at the long-term opportunity here. If this is going mainstream, I'm of the opinion it is. I mean, you're sitting at $39,700 for Bitcoin. This is currently 10% of gold's market cap. If this is going mainstream, it's going bigger than gold. So you're looking at least a 10x, 11x return. Yeah, that is the long-term opportunity. Go look at or listen to some of the older podcasts that we did. They have exactly the same message. And I'm talking now 2 years ago on Cliff Central. And the message is going to be the same in 2 years' time. I mean, this doesn't happen overnight. This is going to be a gradual process. And it's not going to just be Bitcoin, right? There's a lot happening in the space. The stuff going on in the Ethereum community. I mean, there's a few upgrades taking place there. Polkadot, Cardano, Tron. I mean, there's loads going on. And the space is weird. And I actually made a really good sort of remark earlier this week, which is like, it's kind of bizarre that we've got Gen Z coming up, but actually it should be Generation W, which is Generation Weird. Because the things that people are interested in these days is weird, right? I mean, like, you're buying Twitter accounts, you're selling Instagram accounts. It's weird. But the future is going to be weird, and we think that you should potentially own a part of that.
Well, you rightly said just now, if you listen to an episode of one of our discussions with you from 2 years ago, you've been very consistent, Sean Sanders. I'll give you that. Very consistent. So what's going on? You guys launched a new product the last time we spoke. How's that going?
That's going really well. I think I mean, we didn't exactly mean for it to be launched while South African protests and riots and looting and all the rest was taking place. But essentially, it was a US dollar savings vault where you could earn a US dollar based interest rate rather than a measly South African rand based interest rate. And it's been really great. I mean, a lot of South African customers have moved into the vault. And we actually want more people to get advantage or to take advantage of this, to experience what it's like to earn a harder currency. So what we're doing, which is a new promotion that we've just launched, is until the end of August, we are going to double the returns of anybody that puts money into this vault. So if you put 1,500 Rand in, if you put 15,000 Rand in, or you put 150,000 Rand in, the amount doesn't matter. We want you to experience what it's like to earn this hard currency return. So we will double the interest rate that you would be receiving in this vault for a single month. And we think that's a pretty cool promotion. Yeah.
Oh, who would turn their nose up at that? I mean, Mbulelo was saying earlier he doesn't like birthday presents. He just wants cold, hard cash. So now he can put his cold, hard cash into your vault and earn the earn the interest on that at double the interest rate that he would normally get. Sounds like a no lose situation. That's fantastic.
Now that's a present. That now the gentleman we're looking at, Mr. Revex himself. That's a gift. Doubling my money. That is a gift.
There you go. So yeah, I mean, guys, really, it's you don't have to enter a promo code or anything when you sign up. It's available to everyone on the Revex platform, or that's new and wants to join the platform. And the weird thing is, it's not in the crypto space. So this is actually, I mean, sure, you're making use of crypto-based products, but it feels, looks, tastes very much like a normal savings account.
Very nice, Sean. Look at you. You've gone back into banking. Who knew?
Ooh, no, dude, I have not. I'm wearing a hoodie. So no.
Oh, is that the way you can tell? Is that how you can tell someone's not in banking? They wear a hoodie. Okay, well done nonetheless. And thank you for an update, which is always handy, and good news that we're almost up to $40,000 a Bitcoin right now. So it's definitely been a good week so far. It's only Tuesday. Let's hope it continues to rise. Very nice.
Amen. All right. Great, guys. Thank you so much.
Thanks, dude. Nice to see you. There's Sean Saunders, Revex.com. And remember, in a time where things are crazy and you don't need to be a financial expert to operate in the field, you just need to use your cop a little bit. And what you need to do is probably diversify. Revex allows you to effortlessly own a diversified portfolio of the world's top cryptocurrencies, which automatically stays up to date with the ever-changing market. And now there's a savings vault in US dollars as well. Sounds like a good plan. Visit them at Revix Invest, one word, REVIX Invest. And they're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And you can sign up for free, verify your ID, add funds to the bundle of your choice, and start doing amazing things with your money. It's very good. Yeah. All right. Well, when we come back in the next little bit, I want to tell you about my new obsession online. Because I was talking to Simpiwe about this yesterday at the office, and she's got the same obsession as me. And it's not even that embarrassing. The kinds of videos that I get addicted to on Instagram and YouTube. I'll tell you what they are just now, because I bet you I'm not the only one. And once you've seen one of these videos, you're going to want to see a whole lot more.
I can't even imagine what it could be.
I know. It sounds so cryptic, and immediately people go, "Oh no, there's something dirty and filthy going on here."
Yeah.
But Simpiwe and I had the most animated conversation yesterday. I went over. She was busy working in the only spot in the office that has sun. She was sitting in the only, at that one window in Mbulelo, there's the one window at the table, and there's a little beam of sun there, and she was sitting like a cat in the sun. Like a lizard? No. Yeah, like a lizard. She was sitting there in the sun, and she was using up all of that solar energy to power her through the morning. And we started talking about this thing, and I'm sure I'm not the only one, and she's not the only one who's into this. So we'll talk about it just now. Gold medal for metal. I think Alvain means medal for skateboarding. It's so ridiculous, like surfboarding at Olympic Games. How long before we'll have medals for swing ball and frisbee tennis?
Shout out
frisbee.
What is that? Is it Alvain? I gave my thoughts yesterday. I don't want to be too curmudgeonous. I'm actually having a fantastic day.
He's curmudgeonly like you, because Alvain says, how about one for boktrol spitting? The world's got bigger problems to address than sports events of this kind during a world economic crisis where nations are starving. Oh,
I was with him till the end. Yeah, I was with Alvain till the end. The life still must carry on.
It's a W. It's Alwyn.
No, okay.
Alvain. It's Mouton, so I'm assuming it's Alvain.
No, but Flax is Ike's in the north out here. Gareth, there's no Afrikaans out here. You know what I mean? It's Alwyn, but you come here, you come to my bra. None of that. Gebleik, gemui, hey, Alwyn, come in, bro. Do you want a brisky? Do you want a cold one?
All right. Ashley says that she or he thinks that my obsession online is kittens. No, it's not. And it's not cat videos, good cop. And it's also not porn. Corona's boring. So I went to a live digital launch yesterday. This was pretty wild. It was for something called BritBox. We're actually going to talk to the guy from BritBox. It's like it's like a Netflix of British entertainment, and it's available in South Africa. They've launched it. It's a collaboration between the BBC and ITV and a whole lot of the other British broadcasters. They're putting all their content into one big container and letting you have as much of it as you want. Pretty damn cool.
Yeah, there's Ponies and Horses and like all of that stuff.
All that stuff, yeah, all the way back. Alti Tower is absolutely fabulous. Pretty much my entire DVD collection. But the cool thing was, I went to this online launch, right? So you log on at like 5 o'clock because that's when it started, and then you're at a table with other people, and you can actually talk to those people. You can switch your camera on, and you've got your microphone on, and then you are basically doing a virtual dinner party. So you're sitting at this table with these people, and you can chat to them if you don't want to switch your mic on. And then they do the presentation, which makes everybody shut up. So they all your private conversations go dead, and then you have to watch the presentation. And then they interviewed some stars of some of the shows. It was pretty cool.
Can you switch tables if you don't like your table?
I think you can. You can move around. So I was at a table with Mark Pilgrim. And Mark Pilgrim, I don't know if you noticed, but if you follow him on social media, a friend of mine does, and she was sending me screenshots of him, thinking I would be interested, but I wasn't. He'd say, listen, I like Mark Pilgrim. There's nothing wrong with the guy. We actually get along really well. But he went through this Corona thing. He took everyone along with him on his Corona journey. So he was hospitalized, and anyway, he got very sick. Or I didn't even know if he was hospitalized because I wasn't paying that much attention. But he got very sick, and the Rona almost took him by the sound of things. But he's there. He's fine now. He's alive and well. So I said to him, well done. You survived the Rona. He's like, oh, thanks so much. I was very worried there for a little bit. Like,
Is he the guy that did Big Brother?
Yeah.
Sure.
I think so. He was definitely, he did do Big Brother. Yeah, Mark Pilgrim, man. You know who I'm talking about.
The bald guy.
Don't make me go and find a picture of him now.
No, I know exactly what he looks like.
So I'm very relieved.
Who else was at your table?
Very relieved he survived coronavirus. I saw Nina Hasty was there.
Oh, she's nice to have at a table. She's funny.
She's funny. Who else was there? A gadget girl, Claire. She was there as well. Duncan MacLeod, who's well known.
Oh, there can only be one.
Who's Duncan MacLeod?
That's him. Duncan's he's got his own online business. It's quite well known, and he's been a fixture on the media circuit for a long time. He's a very sharp guy, Duncan. I like hearing from him. But Mbulelo referring to the Highlander.
Damn right. There can only be one. Duncan MacLeod. Let's go.
The Highlander was this was it a movie or a series? I can't even remember.
Both. The movie was an absolute dumpster fire. They should have just let that original series. Like, do you remember in the 90s when he had the long hair? I forget who played that character.
What was the story? The Highlander was immortal, but there were other people who were also immortal. And what you had to do was you had to cut their heads off, right?
Yeah, something like that. And there was sort of a King Arthur kind of story, but there can only be one. Flax, if you don't know Highlander, you're welcome, Chief. You got some watching to do.
I'm thinking of like MacGyver or something.
Oh, Lord.
I think we're on different pages.
Silas says he's a Highlander. Don't you know, Flax? Yeah, Flax is too young to get the reference. Don't worry, Flax. Don't let it bother you. So Gareth saying here that, yes, didn't Mark Pilgrim also survive ball cancer? Yes, he did. That's right.
Didn't he then go start an ice cream shop or something?
Yes, he did. We interviewed him.
Yeah.
I think you brought him into the... was it an ice cream shop or frozen yogurt, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
he's good.
Before we finish off the segment, I wanted to give a shout out to people like Sean because I read a really cool article about real entrepreneurs that have actually had businesses going for 10 years that are South African. So shout out to people like anyone in SA right now. I read this article last night. Anyone who's employing people right now after what we've gone through in the last 2 years. I don't know. I was so touched by it because I always aspired to be an entrepreneur. And I thought it was just such an awesome thing to see these people through this time paying people full salaries or whatever they could afford to keep the business going. Man. So it's just, no
one ever gives the employer credit. They're always talking about the employees, and you make a good point.
Yeah, no. I mean, let's keep it real. Is everyone's about my rights? We must also thank those people. But to all the South Africans who are employing people, because boy, we need it in this country. So please keep going. And those who are here that are staying and making it work. This article really touched my heart yesterday about these South Africans. And by the way, it's not a color thing because everyone always makes it that, right? It's like, well done.
Stop it now, because it's you can't talk about employers this long. The socialists are going to get very upset with you.
There can only be one.
Yeah, Highlander. You must watch that TV series, Flax. You'll like it. All right, when we come back, I'll introduce to you my current internet obsession, and we can talk about whether or not there's something wrong with me for liking this stuff. All of that and more on the way.
Coming up on Auto Central.
So the only off-roading I've done is in a 2x4. And it was very, very minimal sort of off-roading. And I did get stuck once. So I think it depends. It completely depends on the vehicle that you have and the sort of wheel configuration that it has. So is it 4-wheel drive, 2x4, or an all-wheel drive?
Catch Auto Central, SA's #1 motoring podcast, every Monday at 9 a.m.
Hi, my name is Martin Bosov. I'm the culture evangelist at King Price Insurance. So what culture? How culture? We do a little bit of a resilience program with them. Just quick things, strengthening them as individuals. Culture eats strategy for breakfast. So you might have read it, heard it 1,000 times, etc.
Yo, I put it like wow, this that sound. These oaks don't work hard like me, I hope they know by now.
Oh, what the hell was that? I wasn't meant to press that button. Okay, cliffcentral.com. There's a lot to talk about this morning. By the way, you might have seen an ad in that little break that we took now, and you might have recognized a person in there. His name is Marno Bosov. Now, what do boats, diffusion, and breakfast possibly have to do with culture? Well, according to King Price's culture expert, Marno Bosov, they have a whole lot to do with each other. King Price brings you a new podcast, which is called A Word from the King. where they explore the many facets of workplace culture from the perspective of King Price's one-of-a-kind culture model. I've been to their offices, actually, and it's a fantastic business. People are running around there. There are people on bicycles. There's the most interesting entrance you've ever seen to a building in your life. There are people playing games the whole time. The walls are filled with colors. The floors are filled with colors. People are just crazy. It's like the most interesting place in South Africa from a business point of view. And you think insurance company, these guys have totally changed the way that I think of insurance companies. Anyway,
they've become such a quirky, cool brand for like the youth to want to use now.
They really are cool. And so Manu is the guy who's hosting this episode of the podcast, A Word from the King. You can learn how to balance culture and strategy, make the switch to want to, and intentionally design a company that inspires and motivates everyone who walks through the business's doors. And that's all about culture, right? All 7 episodes are available right now on cliffcentral.com, and you can find them on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Overcast, Pocket Casts, or wherever you listen to podcasts. You know, we're always on the lookout for interesting podcasts. So go and check out King Price's new podcast as well. Very, very cool. They are cool, though. Have you been to their offices, Flax?
I haven't been to their offices, but I've been seeing their ads, and their ads are like the type I like, where it's like it's completely disruptive and out of place and quirky and cool.
Hang on.
Let me tell you about a picture my friend just sent me now, and it's of someone's Tinder profile. And let me read what this.
They gave me this. Look at this. They gave me a bobblehead, a King Price.
Oh, that's cool.
That's pretty awesome. Sorry, what did you want to?
Oh, so my friend just sent me a girl's Tinder profile that he came across, and I think it's so interesting. Her name's Celia. And Celia's profile reads as follows: our relationship should be like Nintendo 64 Classic. Fun to spend hours with, and every issue is easily fixed by blowing on it and shoving it back in.
That girl will be fun to hang with. I'm telling you, that girl will be interesting, and not just in the bedroom. All right. So this is what I'm obsessed with, and I have been for a little while now. And whenever it comes up on my Instagram feed, I have to stop and watch the whole video, and then I'll go to their page and watch even more videos, and I can't stop myself. It's completely addictive. There's this thing that they do. It's called a hydraulic press. Okay, you know those? They basically use this thing to squash shit. And I'm going to show you a video, and you'll see what I mean. This is an example of what kind of stuff they put on the hydraulic press video, on the hydraulic press channel. And Simpiwe and I are totally obsessed with this. Watch this. Things. It's absolutely fantastic. I could watch this all day long. They started off in this video with 3 little spools of cotton or whatever it is. It's thread for sewing. Then they put a magic 8 ball in there. They put in a billiard ball. And then there's a glass, like I don't know, a glass ball of some kind. And then I think there's a Rubik's cube that they crush up. But they put everything in there. Plasticine, sweets. I mean, I saw them doing this with a packet of licorice all sorts the other day. They make a little bowl underneath the hydraulic press, and then the press comes down and it squashes all of these licorice all sorts into like this brown goo that comes out of the top. It's unbelievably entertaining. I can't get enough of this stuff. I don't know.
What does it make you feel?
I love seeing what happens when you destroy shit. And especially if they put like toys and like rubber or like plastic, and then they put food, and then they put stone, or there's so much stuff. And because this press is so strong, it can pretty much crush anything. I mean, there's a huge amount of pressure on this thing. And it's just interesting to see shit being broken. I don't know if that makes me dumb or if I'm the only person who's doing this on the internet, but I love this thing. It's my favorite channel to watch. I'll sit there. I did it the other night. I was watching for, I don't know, maybe half an hour before I realized how much time I'd wasted just watching a hydraulic press destroy shit.
That gives me anxiety.
Well, I feel compelled to make the bride joke. Hey, I'd like to stick my mother-in-law in there. I'd like to see her skip.
That would not go down at one of my bras.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Well, Michael says a psychologist would have a bit to say about you having an appreciation for destruction. Well,
yeah, I
maybe
agree with
that's
Michael.
No, it's just really entertaining to watch. There's a video on YouTube where a mashing machine is put on a high spin cycle with just a tin in it. This machine goes ballistic. What is a mashing machine? Is that the thing?
Washing machine.
A washing machine. Okay,
cold hands this morning.
Okay. Yeah. So a washing machine put on a high spin cycle with just a tin in it, and it goes ballistic. Well, yeah, I can imagine it bounces around a lot, right? Because if you don't secure a washing machine, it can also, that thing spins fast. If you've watched a washing machine doing like your socks or your t-shirts, it goes fucking fast.
We lost our things at the bottom for our washing machine a time ago. And when it hit the spin cycle, it literally went berserk. You had to hold it down and it was moving out of place. And then you had to catch it at the right cycle to push it back in place.
It's got like a restraining bolt that holds it in. Yeah. Otherwise,
that's something people forget when they buy a washing machine, is to take that bolt out, and then the drum's not moving.
Yeah,
very important. Do you know there's a new place in Joburg?
By the way, she did mean washing machine. She's just correcting herself there. So thank you very much for that. Can this machine crush a diamond? Says Shani. Yes, because funnily enough, diamonds are very hard, but they're also very brittle. Yeah. So although you can use a diamond to scratch things, it can be crushed very easily into powder. Can we crush the ANC with that hydraulic press?
Oh, there we go. We're getting into it now. I did the mother-in-law thing with the ANC, the cancer AXA.
ANC,
I love this country, but she's actually driving me wild out here.
What's happening, Flax?
Is there anything you can't crush with that machine? Like something that is such a hard
tungsten
material?
Well, tungsten's about as good as we've got right now. Adamantium, if you're a big film fan.
Tungsten's a very hard metal. Tungsten melts at 4,500 degrees or something. And tungsten, you have tungsten in your house. Do you know that?
Where have we got tungsten?
In your light bulbs. If you have any of those old incandescent light bulbs, not the modern white light bulbs, the halogen ones, those old light bulbs with a filament. It's got, so that little piece of filament is a piece of tungsten wire, usually tungsten wire, inside a bulb of argon gas, and that's what gives you light. And because tungsten is such a tough metal, it doesn't immediately frizzle, burn, ignite, or get so hot that it melts inside a lamp, because there's a huge amount of electricity going into a light. I mean, that bulb is working hard.
And the old drills, I don't know what materials they're using now, but I remember sometimes going to site with my old man, and I'd see the tungsten, what do they call them, carbide drills. I mean, those things are absolute earth destroyers.
The tungsten carbide is such a strong material for using in drills and in rock crushers and that kind of shit.
Mining powerful. Everywhere. Yeah, so they're everywhere in the mining.
Tungsten is also, it's an element on the periodic table, and its symbol is W, because the Germans named it. And then they decided after, I think, World War II, they were going to take away the Germans' name for it and call it something else. The Germans called it Wolfram. That's why it's a W. Wolfram. And we call it tungsten. So it's one of those ones that they use to catch people out who don't know the periodic table very well. So in a general knowledge quiz, they'll say, what is the chemical symbol for tungsten? And now you'll know it's a W.
Yes, now you know, Michael.
There you go.
Hey, the more you know, it's a gift every day, Mike. Hey?
A place you'll enjoy. I found it online when I'm building up my lockdown activity list. I think it's called Smash Lab or something, and it's a place in Joburg. There might be one in Cape Town. You pay to go break things there. So you buy a crate of old TVs and stuff, and they give you a hammer and some protective gear, and you break stuff in a container. You just go wild and smash things.
Have you been in one?
No, I haven't gone yet, but I do want to go. It's an awesome date idea.
Huh? Okay.
Yeah. Take someone on a date to a Smash Lab. But I like that.
No.
I like that there's a place where you can go and break shit. Like, a lot of people have a huge amount of frustration, and some people don't have a punching bag, or they don't have an athletic pursuit, but they can wield a baseball bat. And if you give them an old car and you tell them you can smash this car up, they'll get a lot of frustration out.
Yeah, 100%. Very.
I don't know if that would be. I don't know if I'd go and waste money to do that. And I mean, I wouldn't buy hydraulic press just to put things in it and crush them like that video I showed you just now. But I like watching other people do it. I like seeing that happen, and especially the food ones. Like they put what did I see them doing? Like cans of like soda or whatever they'll put in there, and then they'll take a sculpture that's made of like marble, and they'll crush that. You could crush anything under that thing. It's so amazing. It's really fun. And Gareth, you would enjoy the industrial shredding machines, says Derek. Mattresses, tires, computers. There's this thing with the teeth. Have you seen those drums that they drop stuff into? And they like, use them
at those, what they called scrap yards.
Yeah, so they have these huge interlocking teeth that you could drop anything into that. You could drop a whole car in, and it will actually break the whole thing into little scraps of metal. It'll make them little iron filings, basically. After it goes through there, you could put anything in there. You could put a person in there, and they would, they'd be eaten by those teeth. It's amazing.
Well, it's what the mafiosos. I mean, I'm not sure if they still do it, but back in the day, it's well known that that's how they used to dispose of some of the human beings who didn't pay rent on time. The mafia were well known for disposing with people like that. So don't get on the wrong side of the mafia. Is my point there, Michael? Is you'll get disposed
don't you
there.
Think, like if we used those to, like, those days where you're feeling like a real misanthropist and you just don't like people, and you think, okay, well, we need to build a big machine like that with the teeth to just throw bad people into.
Yeah, like
have you ever thought about that?
And CrossFit
only
people.
Problem, right, exactly. But the only problem with that is you're very messy. If you put a car through there, you can use most of the stuff that comes out on the other side. Yeah. But a human, you've got a lot of the liquid contents, not very useful.
And then you've got to clean it to get rid of the trace.
And the meat.
That can't be easy to clean.
And the innards and the eyeballs and the hair and the teeth. I mean, humans are very messy to mash up.
Nah, there's a Taiwanese guy who can figure out how to have a cylinder, smart enough to build a cylinder for it to go straight somewhere where the waste goes. Take out the organs before you put them in there, right? There's lots of kids who need a kidney or whatever, and then all the best.
Right, so we harvest the useful organs, and then we throw the rest of them in.
Cannon fodder.
And you have to spray it down afterwards, right?
Sanitize it first.
That's it. Yeah, say, hey, Meryl, please make sure you get the top of the cylinder. Hey, I mean, you're slacking.
Meryl's busy spraying it off from underneath with the blood and the drippings and the meat coming down. That's disgusting. Flax, someone wants to know, isn't that place called the Rage Room? Yes,
Rage Room, that's it.
No, Derek.
Better than asking someone to go to a Smash Lab for a date.
Because as another Michael points out, smashing, of course, used to be slang for having sex. Yes.
There's so many different words for having sex now. Someone used the word, I gave her a good Rogering. Like, people are making up their own words.
That one existed a while ago, yeah.
Oh, is that a thing?
That one's
funniest terminology. I love all the different words that people have for genitals, for male and female parts. There are lists. You must actually play this game if you are around friends who have a sense of humor, where you go around the table until you run out of terms. So you'll start off like, I'll say pussy, and then Mbulelo will say twat, and then ham wallet, and we'll keep going around until we run out of words. And I mean, if you've got a bunch of people around the table, it can be hysterical, because you'll find like everybody has a term that the others haven't heard of yet. And some of these words are pretty horrific. I mean, especially the English, they come up with terrible terminology for that sort of thing. You've got to play that game.
I heard a really funny one, and it's pretty clean, for masturbation. And the guy referred to it as hand-to-gland combat.
Correct. That is pretty wild. Hand-to-gland combat.
That's really good.
So here's Jim. Jim says, in Sardinia, taking us back to the gross stuff, they feed bodies to the pigs, the size of a VW Beetle. Insane. Not a trace of a body left. Jesus. What you want to do is feed them to the piggies. You remember Bricktop from Snatch? It'll take pigs, what does he say, 12 and a half minutes to dispose of an entire human corpse. Of course, you've got to remove the teeth and the hair for piggies' digestion. He goes, then you cut the body up. Anyway, it's all pretty fantastic. I love that movie.
Are pigs really carnivores?
Yes. They're omnivores like us. They will eat.
Pigs will eat anything, Michael.
And they will eat vegetables.
I thought they were herbivores.
No, they're the same as us. So apparently, here's some words. Porking. There's a good word for having sex. Porking. That's a
No, I wouldn't use that word.
I would really, really like to pork you. That's such a great word. All right, rooting is another good one. The Australians like to use that. Yeah, I'm going to take that Sheila around the back of the shed and give her a good rooting. Shafting is another good one. The crazy monkey dance for sex. My favorite one is making the beast with two backs.
I haven't heard that in a while.
No, it's a good one. Snorrenmossel. Oh, that's a snorrenmossel would be a mustached muscle. So they would obviously be for the female parts. Okay, very nice. Now you know what we're going to do. We're just going to get the whole of the rest of the show is going to be this. This is going to be outrageous.
Education sector.
Cabello says masturbation is also called popping champagne. I heard someone say steak the other day, says David. I heard someone say steak the other day. That used to be to stab someone. Yeah, but now it's also for porking.
Yeah, you steak a sticky, as they say, hey?
I mean, the obvious one here's Ian with Netflix and chill, which we all know has nothing to do with Netflix.
It's now changed to chicken and dickin'.
That's great. I like that. Wow. Rona's Boring says Pol Pot, the dictator in Cambodia, he used to tie people up above starving pigs as a way of executing. Oh, what a sicko.
Oh, hectic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's terrible. So here's an interesting one from Mandia. Mandia says, what is the female version of cock blocking? Clam jamming.
That's golden. I haven't heard that. That is so good.
That's good, right? Yeah, man to hand. Man to hand is masturbation, according to Lucky Matlapeng. Ted says planke to fat or bedaya in Afrikaans for sexual intercourse. I've never heard either of those.
What
Michael
says to fat translate to
taking her to the planks, obviously on the floorboards, basically. Michael says Afrikaans words like pomp and puss are irreplaceable. Yeah, absolutely. Those are great words. Very, very good words. I like that a lot. A voortrekker is another word. I don't know. That must be for penis, I'm guessing. A voortrekker. Pretty wild. There's some great. Okay, well, we're not going to carry on with this all morning. Otherwise, we'll not stop. So this has to end at some point. All right. I've now revealed my embarrassing secret about the hydraulic press, and it got us onto this conversation. And I can't believe I'm the only one.
I thought it was going to be like mukbang or something else, watching.
What the hell is mukbang?
Have you not heard of mukbang? Unless I'm pronouncing it wrong, so someone correct me. But it's when you watch people eat and you hear them chew, and then you get satisfaction out of watching them eat food or hearing them chew food. I'm sure it's called mukbang.
Is that a kind of ASMR thing?
Yeah, and that's huge.
No, dude.
People are viral just for chewing and letting people hear them eat their food.
I like the fact that
ASMR.
I like the fact that mukbang is a thing for Michael, and he goes, I haven't even heard about this Olympics thing. I love that. I love that that's a real thing in your world.
I love that Michael Flax is busy saying, what? The Russians dope at the Olympics?
Yeah.
And they have all these different events at the Olympics and people get medals? That's amazing. But I can tell you about mukbang.
Yeah, no, everyone's doing it. No one's doing Olympics anymore.
When it comes to sports, and I'm sure I can't be the only one, but I prefer watching highlights and the good parts instead of sitting through the entire game.
I don't even watch the highlights. That's how disinterested I am.
Give me the score. I just want the end result.
I wait for the next day, and then Mbulelo tells me all the important stuff I need to know about it. That's all I know.
Watching sports is not a thing to me. I don't get pleasure. I like, if I go watch it live, it's because there's beer and a vibe, but I don't actually enjoy watching it.
You know, we've got to talk to Sarah Hoffman. She's waiting to join us this morning. Sarah Hoffman is the co-founder of Clicked, and we're going to find out all about digital wellness, because that's kind of her area of expertise. And she's also a social media lawyer, so she can probably answer a few of our questions. But, you know, I've found, and I'm sure you found this too, that because we're on screen all day now, all our meetings are doing, they're done like this, and everybody that you see, you're mostly seeing them via digital devices. We're already on our phones all the time, long before coronavirus. She says that there is a real thing called digital burnout. Forget about your mukbang, Michael Flax, but digital burnout's a real problem. So Sarah is actually, one of the things she does is she actually advises companies, and she puts together presentations to help them deal with digital burnout, because it's something I've kind of not taken it that seriously. And I think it's a mistake to not take it seriously, because people are seriously suffering from this. They're having a very hard time. A lot of people just don't know how to mitigate the destruction and the problems that being around screens all the time and looking into screens all the time creates for them, let alone the physical problems, but the mental anxiety and the fact that you have to be on call all the time, and the fact that we're not having real interactions with people. All of this plays a big role in the way that many people are feeling at the moment. And we know how many people are feeling burnt out and exhausted and tired and sick to death of having to look into screens. So I thought, let's talk to Sarah. She's really the expert when it comes to this stuff. So first of all, welcome, Sarah Hoff. Nice to see you. Are you there? Can you hear us? You just need to unmute. There we go. Oh, no, she's not there. Hang on. Let's just try that again.
We'll get Sarah back.
No. Here she is. She's coming. There she is. All right, good. And there she is. Yeah, we got you.
Hello.
How's it? We can hear you loud and clear. Perfect. How's it?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Can you hear us?
I can't hear you guys. Just 1 second.
All right,
Ironically, talking about digital burnout.
Yeah, that's a great transition into digital burnout.
We'll get her back in a second. I don't know what's going on there. It's obviously a headphone or a microphone problem. It is funny. Like, digital burnout should be the first thing we talk about with her, and then she literally has a digital burnout.
Hey, before we get to Sarah, Michael, you were talking obviously about the now well-known mukbang. I don't think I need to explain what it is.
How do you spell mukbang? I need to look it up. Hang on. Mukbang. MUKBANG.
I think so.
Yeah. But
yes, here it is. MUKBANG. A mukbang is also known as an eating show. It's an online audio-visual broadcast in which a host consumes various quantities of food while interacting with an audience. It became
Have you guys
popular.
never heard of it? Have you guys been living under a rock?
Obviously, I have, Michael, because I don't waste my time with like Olympics or news or coronavirus or nobody's doing any of that stuff anymore. Mukbang is life, as you and I know, Mike. But let me tell you this quick before we go back to Sarah. So before I had the pleasure of coming to Cliff Central, I worked on a few documentaries, and I banned chewing gum on my sets. Right, like nobody is allowed chewing gum because extras are late.
Worst. Oh, it's horrible. I can't stand that.
Hey, the worst. Chewing gum.
And some people do it, and it's part of their talking. They're like, "How's that? What you doing? Yeah, nice to see you."
No idea. Your thoughts on that mukbang quickly, Michael? What do you think of me banning chewing gum on my set?
Yeah, what do you think?
You see, when someone mentions like chewing gum, or I see them chewing gum, have you ever chewed chewing gum to the point where it like starts going into a liquid and you can't actually control its form anymore. And chewing gum should be chewed until the flavor goes away and then put in the dustbin. And people that throw chewing gum out their window and that need to stop that right away. That is pollution. It doesn't like deteriorate. It takes so long.
My worst, when you find chewing gum under a desk or something that someone put there probably years ago. That's the worst is obviously because it goes hard over time. But the worst if you find fresh chewing gum under a desk or something. That's pretty gross.
It sticks to you.
You're sitting somewhere and your hands are like you're going, you're touching something, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh God, no, I think that's chewing gum, and then you realize it's still soft, like it must have been put there today or yesterday. Ugh. All right, let's try and talk to Sarah Hoffman. It's a much more pleasant experience talking to her than it is about mukbang or old chewing gum. Yeah.
Hey guys, so awesome to be here.
It's nice to see you. We were talking about digital burnout, and I started off by just saying this is an area of expertise for you because, among other things, I mean, your business Clicked, you help, particularly with kids and being online, and there are lots of parents who don't know what to do when it comes to managing the internet for their children. And we can maybe get to that just now. But let's talk about this digital burnout thing, because it's a very big problem in the world right now. And I don't think we're going to be rid of it anytime soon, right? So we've got to learn to deal with this.
Totally. And I think, Gareth, I mean, obviously everything was made a million times worse with Corona. But if we take a few steps back, we were in a crisis of burnout way before the apocalypse started last year. And Corona just kind of brought everything to the fore. But it's actually, it's worth just talking about what it all looked like before Corona, just so that we can understand how badly people are burnt out now and how much our digital devices play a part of that. And I think, it's also interesting. I read something the other day that when Steve Jobs introduced the iPhone to start, and he's the big, puppeteer of all of this, he introduced it as an iPod that you can phone on, right? And that was like the big selling thing. So it was an iPod that you can make calls on. And I don't think any of us actually signed up for this condition that we found ourselves in, where these little devices are the console for our entire life. And I mean, they're awesome. I mean, you and I would not be in the jobs we're in if it wasn't for our connectivity and the devices we have. But I think it's time we all evaluated our complicated relationships with our devices.
So, I mean, pretty much for the last 10, maybe even 12 years, this is where our faces have been. Like this, we've been looking into a screen and the coronavirus thing we'll get to in a second, because that's obviously compounded the problem. But you have the screen time thing on your phone. Now, I'm just looking at mine. According to this, today already. This is so embarrassing. So today, and I've only been awake since 5:30, I've already spent, it says here 32 minutes looking at my screen.
Oh, wow. That can't be good for the eyes.
It's insane, right? That is terrible. That's really, really bad for your eyes. It's bad for your brain. What do you tell us about that? How soon am I going to die?
Not right yet. But, there are a whole bunch of, interesting ripple-on effects of excessive exposure to screens. So there's, obviously the mental health component, which I know, is a big topic on Clip Central, and you chat about that often. But because we're no longer able to delineate what's work, what's play, what's ordering groceries, we used to live our life in a much more siloed way, right? You'd read the newspaper, you'd go to the shops, you would, have a meeting with your kid's teacher. And I mean, obviously it's created huge efficiencies, but at the same time, everything is conducted through this little screen. And actually there's a really interesting concept in neuroscience, which says that when you are looking through like a straw eye view of the world compared to a vista, it immediately increases the cortisol production in your brain, and it immediately heightens the state of anxiety. So we've got to try and like at some stage, and we can get to some practical tips on how, limits what we're doing through the screen and how we're doing it through the screen. And obviously there's the addiction component. I think these things have become so second nature. I read a stat, 80% of men and 69% of women go to the toilet with their phones. So either people are just not getting enough fiber, or we have a problem, you know, because people can't be without it. There's actually a word called nomophobia, where people, you get a kind of twitching sensation when you don't have it. You know, you're standing in a shopping queue, you're waiting in the doctor's room, and people aren't able to be bored anymore, which, you know, and that's also super important.
How do you know you have a problem? I went away this weekend with some friends, and I didn't have my phone with me for most of the time. So Friday afternoon, I put it down in the room of the place I was staying, and I actually did not look at it more than once on that day or the next day. I checked it in the evening to see that there wasn't anything important, but I didn't carry it with me. I didn't use it as a camera. I didn't have it for any other purpose at all. It was just sitting in the room, and I was fine. I managed. Like, my life didn't fall apart. No one, you know, the Pope wasn't trying to reach me. Joe Biden wasn't calling. Nothing stopped. Life carried on. It was okay. I felt quite good about the fact that I didn't need my phone around me the whole time.
So
is that how you know you don't have a problem, or how can you tell when you?
I would say that you and your phone probably don't need couple counseling. I think you're in a good space if you can last that long. But I mean, it really is that twitching, that feeling on edge without checking. That, you know, when we talk about kids and teens, it's that constant state of FOMO, and especially now in Corona, because it really is, you know, their window to the whole social world. It's and the thing about this incessant need to, so there's a couple of things. If you're a professional, and this is again talking about this culture of burnout, we're in this culture of always being on and always needing to be available. And it's that anxiety of not checking your email. You might miss an important email, or you might, you know, miss an important WhatsApp notification. And truthfully, if you lay the boundaries correctly and you have the right policies in place at work, and we can talk about all of that, you know, you shouldn't need to be online every single minute. And, you know, it's interesting when we look at what companies globally are starting to do in recognition of this, because they're realizing that people are just so depleted and so burnt out. They're having to put things in place like meeting-free Wednesdays, or, you know, turning off or batching your email delivery in your inbox, so that people are just not permanently on. Because in this world, everything is vying for our attention. It's actually creating burnt out, exhausted, depleted people.
And with lockdown, people think you should always be available, because what better things do you have to do? You're stuck in your home, so I can phone you anytime, and that's not right. You still need your mental health.
Absolutely. And there was a really study that Microsoft did, actually, which was just showing about, you know, the effects of remote work and how the whole workplace is going to ultimately remain hybrid by and large. So people have realized, you know, that it's much more efficient, and there are a lot of pros, but at the same time, and they said in this report that people's efficiency and productivity went up enormously. Like, there was 46 billion more emails sent in February this year than February last year, but it's what that productivity is masking a completely depleted workforce. Like, people are running on fumes.
All right, I'm gonna share a few of my tips. I know you've got some pretty good ones. I, number one, don't have email on my phone. I only check email. Yeah, I don't get email on my phone, so I'll check email on my laptop, and I'll do it a couple of times a day if it's a work day. On weekends, I won't check email until Sunday. I like to get things out of the way on Sunday evening, and I clear my inbox every single day. So if there are things that I can't get to, then I'll reply to people and say, I'll get back to you in 2 or 3 days, and I flag it and I put it in a folder, and I get rid of that folder by, say, Wednesday if it's a Monday. But I do not do email on my phone, and I clear out junk mail. Like, if I get subscribed to some mailing list, I go and unsubscribe. I know it's a pain in the backside to do, but you save yourself a good 20 minutes every day, because you're not deleting. You've unsubscribed from this that you shouldn't have been on in the first place. So it'll take you a morning to do all the unsubscribing, but it'll save you a fortune of time in the long run. So email is easy. So for me, that takes a lot of the anxiety and the burnout away when it comes to email. I've also taken Twitter off my phone. I I do not go on Twitter. I also don't go on Facebook on my phone. So those two don't exist on my phone.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
And WhatsApp, I'm afraid I don't know how to loose myself from that monster. But
Yeah.
that's the one.
You have it on your desktop.
No, I haven't. Just the phone.
Well, that's good.
What are your tips? Like, what can we do to start taking care of ourselves and stop digital burnout?
Yeah, so I think what you're describing, which is like a digital decluttering, a digital spring clean, is a really good start. You know, like take a look at what's on your desktop, what's on your apps that's really cluttering up and causing you distractions. You know, I think the one thing we also didn't mention is just how distracted we all are. So yes, we're spending all the, you know, our screen time is up. It doesn't mean we're actually yielding more work. It doesn't mean we're putting that time in and being focused and undistracted, because every time we start, there's a ping and there's a ding and there's a notification and there's something urgent, and then we have to spend all that time kind of getting refocused.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of digital spring clean is a really great start. Look at what you don't need on your device. I think disabling notifications is a massive one. Super easy to do just in the settings of your phone. You know, you can decide, as Gareth does, like when you want to go and check email or WhatsApp, or you don't need a notification every time Discovery has updated it.
Yeah, that's a good plan. I could do that.
And turn off read receipts on WhatsApp. That should not be a thing. You should not have to reply to someone just because it's blue ticked. Like, you know, when people say, oh, he blue ticked me or she blue ticked me. Nah, so turn read receipts off, eliminate the problem. There's obviously a problem.
Deal with it. No, I think Sarah's, we froze. We're going to have to get her back. Let's see if we can, would you just take care of that, Mbulelo, and just see if you can get her back on the line?
Have you ever experienced where you think you heard your phone go, or you think you felt your phone vibrate, and then you look and it doesn't?
Like a ghost, almost like a ghost notification. And then you're looking on your, see, I'm sure I felt something. I'm telling you, that's because you're spending too much time on the phone and you're waiting for, maybe you're anxious about a certain person messaging you back or something. And you actually start to imagine that your phone is vibrating, or that you've got a message or whatever.
And like you go to bed, and if it vibrates, you don't know what it is. You have to see it. You just can't sleep without knowing what that vibration was.
No, you're absolutely right. So, Sarah, okay, we were busy talking about digital spring clean and decluttering, and the notifications is a really good place to go. I'm actually going to get onto my phone and clear those out just now. What else have you got for us?
Yeah, so another obvious one is you got to put your phone to bed, not next to your bed, somewhere else. So I used to listen to Ariana Huffington's Thrive Global podcast. I don't know if you ever listened to her. And at the end of every show, she would gift her guests a little Thrive Global, a little bed. It's a charging station, but it's a bed for your phone. And the whole notion was, and she was fascinated with this topic, like what people's relationship with their devices is. So she would make a thing of gifting every single person a bed for their phone. So we don't have that bed, but any bed that's not next to your bed is a great one, because I think the minute it's next to your bed, the problem is our brain can't delineate what is work and what is fun and what is pleasure. So the minute we see that phone, if you really want to have a break from your phone, it's got to be totally out of sight. I don't think we're cognitively able to have it next to us and not check it. So to go to sleep with the phone charging out of sight is really a great one. That's helped me a huge amount.
So, I mean, that sounds good, but it's also my alarm clock, because your phone does everything for you these days. So if I don't have my phone next to my bed, then my alarm's going to go off, and then I have to get up, and I suppose that's maybe better. But
so that's another tip of mine. I like to recommend to people to pick one thing you're using your device for and replace it with an analog alternative. So it might be an alarm clock. I bought this amazing clock from Takealot. It was $200, and it's you tap the table. It's such fun. You just tap the table, and the light pops up to show you the time, and then you can set the alarm. So that's my next to my bed alarm clock and time display. But yeah, I mean, people use the phone for all sorts of things, grocery lists, and as we said, it's efficient. But I think we have to separate some components of what we're using it for.
there are things that we can find an analog version for that we use our phones for. I mean, people have become completely dependent upon their phones for directions and for family WhatsApp groups and all of those kinds of things. And that's when they can be useful. I mean, don't get me wrong, they can be useful, but there are ways that we used to manage this stuff before phones, and we did okay. Like, humans survived. We managed. We made it through the day without the phone. And the more you can find reasons to not use your phone, I suppose, the better. Let's just talk for a minute about the distractions that you brought up just now, because it does make sense for people to take a digital detox every now and then.
Yeah,
where you
absolutely.
You could put your phone away. Let's say on a weekend, maybe on a Sunday is a good day to do it, because you know that there isn't going to be any urgent work. And frankly, if you are working on a Sunday, you've got time management problems that are far bigger than the problem.
Yeah.
And, you need a day to just recharge your batteries. If you're not doing that, forget about mental health. Physically, you'll just fall apart. So there are excuses that we can find to get rid of the thing for a day, right? And especially if you're in the movie or if you're at dinner with your family, you don't need that thing sitting next to you at the table.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's another one of my big tips. So and it's really some personal experience, because at the beginning of lockdown, we were all, not in the greatest state when it really did feel like the apocalypse was beginning, and we're still in it. 16 months later, that's a story for another day. But and it was the phone was the source of, firstly, constant bad news, and I actually had to totally reevaluate my relationship with my phone. And what I started doing is turning it off on a Friday night and turning it back on a Saturday night. And it's been totally transformative for me, because firstly, I'm just I'm far more present, I'm far more focused with my family. I actually loathe turning it back on a Saturday evening, to be honest now. I look forward to this every week. And I appreciate that not everybody is able to do that, but I like to call it intermittent fasting from your phone, in the same way that the science behind intermittent fasting says you get energized and you come back with greater energy and focus. I think that the same is true of having breaks from your phone, short but consistent breaks. But when I say breaks, it's got to be out of sight, because the minute you see it, even if it's turned upside down, the instinct is going to be to check it.
Grab it, yeah. Eleutheria says, I turn on Do Not Disturb from 8 p.m. at night.
Yeah, that's a
good one.
That's automatic. Woody says, when I go to sleep, I just put my phone on flight mode. Good Stuff says, my phone puts itself off at night and goes on before I wake up. I have no social media besides YouTube. Deleting social media accounts as a whole is like taking huge weights off your mind. That's
that's a major one. A lot of people say that the minute they take the social media off their phone and keep it, just check it on their desktop, it's totally transformative. I think it's tough if you're in the business where, for work, you need to be on social media frequently, and it's just, you might not always be at your desk. So I think that's, for people like that, you have to really put some boundaries in place with yourself. But I think it is all about putting some hurdles in place, that makes it a little bit more difficult to check when you don't need to be checking. So even if it's rearranging and putting something in a folder, that makes it one step harder to just open and mindlessly scroll when you don't need to. And what it really comes down to is how it's making you feel. But I think the truth is, people, just by looking at these comments, the minute people put little changes in place, there is a huge weight lifted, and they do feel a lot more focused, a lot better mentally.
Well, here's another point from Michael. He says it's more accurate to call it the tech body rather than to call it a cell phone, because these devices are now part of human anatomy. For many, losing a phone is as devastating as losing a limb. That's true.
You feel lost.
True.
Yeah. Is there an average of what your daily screen time should be, and it shouldn't exceed this?
I think, not all screens are equal. So it's really, we get asked that by parents all the time with kids. My kid is this age, and what is the screen time? And we can't actually, firstly, when it comes to kids, all shows are different. But when it comes to it really depends if it's, I think what I like to ask myself, is it serving you or are you serving it? Because, that changes the whole dynamic. But, I think the big problem is, another thing which we haven't mentioned, is just how it's affecting our relationships, because people, people I find are not able to be focused and present in a conversation. And the irony is, it's the very reason we signed up to some of these apps. Like we signed up to Facebook all those years ago to connect with people that we couldn't connect. And now we can't sit at a table without checking our phone and have a real connection. So, there's a massive role that it has to play there.
Is there a rule with regards to what age a child should get their first laptop or phone to avoid this happening? Like that the brain is fully formed and they don't let their devices control them?
So, I mean, in an ideal world, we should try and stay off social media for kids at 13, but it's really tough given remote learning and just, where things are. And also now, especially in the pandemic, that social media has been kids' window to socializing. So again, I think it is, it depends on a child's emotional readiness. So we have like a checklist for parents to check how is your child. It's about, are they able to stand up for themselves? Are they able to stand up to bullying? Are they able, do they have the right emotional responses to handle themselves when, and I say when, because it's not if, it's when somebody creepy approaches them and asks them for stuff. Are they able to come? Do they know that they can come and talk to their parents? Will they come and talk to a trusted adult, etc.? So it's really, I'm loath to say, a hard age and a hard stage because there's so many factors at play.
It's just amazing how kids are able to work with these screens almost immediately. I mean, like I've seen 3 and 4 year olds who know how to swipe and open apps and play games, and they're just so good at it at an incredibly young age. I mean, I was like an idiot with my phone for the first 3 years I had it. We used to have to SMS by hitting the 9 key times to get a. You remember? No, but even before that, just like SMSs where you'd have just the numbers and you'd have to like
characters,
bar or whatever. I wonder, Sarah, there's something that bothers me in the long term about this a lot more. There are kids who are going onto these devices. They start social media accounts really early. 13 is crazy, but I suppose that's the age that a lot of these kids get involved in social media. And they'll say something which is innocuous and silly at 13. And then 3 or 4 years later, they'll find themselves in a social media outrage about what they said when they were 13, because times have changed and people have become maybe a little bit more sensitive to certain things. I mean, they're woke, whatever, but they've become perfectly they're not trying to be terrible people, but they will actually ruin some person's life because of something they did when they were 13. That shouldn't be right. I mean, we should be allowed to delete. We should be allowed to remove our entire childish digital presence at some point when we're an adult, right? Don't you think that should be a right that we have?
I mean, there are ways, but I guess it is the added responsibility of having these devices because truthfully, I mean, we all did naughty stuff when we were kids. It's just the consequences weren't as long-lasting and permanent. And we didn't kind of have this mob that's the minute you're in the spotlight decides they're going to go and dig up and see exactly what you wrote 4 years ago. We saw it with that Miss South Africa contestant, Bianca Scumbi. I don't know if you remember. It was last year. And they dug up all those really racist tweets and that were disastrous for her, and that was the end of her career. But look, there are ways that you can go back retroactively, but often, as you say, it's too late. So I think it is the responsibility of if you have a device, understanding, and we actually advise parents that before your child gets on social media and creates those accounts, to actually sign a contract, just acknowledging what kind of responsibility you're having, because, it is permanent content that you're putting out there, and it can come back to, and kids do need to be aware of the personal brand they're creating just from very early on. It's like a giant kind of puzzle that all comes together.
Here's an interesting point being made by Michael. He says, it's interesting to note the CEOs of big tech companies do not allow their own children to have cell phones or social media. What do they know that they don't tell the rest of us? Good point.
Absolutely. True. So that was Bill Gates and Steve Jobs. Their kids weren't on devices till 13, 14. So I think, they have this understanding of just how these devices are designed to lure us in, and you all saw the social dilemma that documentary. I mean, it's quite a lot of fear mongering in my opinion, but there are components of validity that these devices are totally and utterly designed to lure us in. The algorithms are playing on what we like to make sure that we keep coming back for more and more and more. So totally addictive. And the thing about teens is their brains don't have that impulse control. The brain stops developing at 25. And the last part of that brain is that part at the front, the prefrontal cortex that says, maybe that's not such a good idea. So they don't have that, and they're constantly seeking the thrill and the reward. And for teens, the risky behavior is the reward. It gives them that thrill, that dopamine kick, and it's age appropriate.
Good Stuff wants to know, and this is something I know nothing about. Fortnite is worse than social media. Fortnite, it's like games, right? It's a game. It's a community game. So you have your actual real life friends playing with you online, right?
Yeah. So I mean, I think look, there's some apps that are absolutely terrible, and I would say to parents, absolutely no ways, don't even think about it. But for with all of them, there's a lot of them. It's good, there's good, there's bad, and there's ugly, and it's really knowing about
which apps are on your shit list. Like which apps should
shit list. So I think that so the shit list. Anything that's got disappearing content is a no-go for me. Like the Snapchat, because that's really risky, because people post things that they think you're going to send your boyfriend a nude because it's going to disappear and he'll never see it. So everyone gets into trouble because phones have got recording devices and screenshots are taken. So that's a no-go. And then the other big no-go is anonymous platforms. So we have enough problems with regular platforms where people just create fake accounts like Instagram, but things like Omegle, and there's one called QMe and Kik, where they actually encourage anonymity. They actually, like the payoff line of Omegle is talk to strangers. Hello.
That goes against everything.
Get out of there. Run for the hills. Flax, you wanted to ask.
Yeah, what's your opinion on dating apps and the effect that has on us, and what we used to go out and meet people in real life, and now we're using apps to just skim past everyone and try find a match?
Yeah, so I mean, I say this being someone who luckily missed the online dating era. So it's a great caveat. But I mean, I think, you're not exactly spoiled for choice in Corona. And I think dating in the I was having a conversation with my cousin, and she's on Raya. It's a kind of the VIP dating app.
Yes.
And she says, why do all these fancy people, she started listing actors, why do they skim past me? And I said, it's like trying to fit into your 13 to 14 jeans, and you are 25. Like, you're sometimes setting yourself up for disappointment. But look, I think it does. Dating apps, I think it also feeds into this whole notion of getting the match. But I mean, it is what it is in the States in this time. We don't really, I mean, you're not going to go to clubs, you're not going to go to restaurants, we're not having parties. So that really is what's on offer at the moment.
Very true. Tell us more about it.
Does it
This guy.
She's awesome. She's
Mbulelo, you wanted to ask something?
No. I'm just this Michael Flax guy trying to organize a date with Sarah's cousin on here. Phenomenal. But I mean, having said that, maybe we should talk about her now.
No.
I'm just joking.
Interesting. I never knew about Raya, and I do remember someone mentioning this VIP app where it's like hard to get on and you have to get accepted, which is weird.
No, it's great. It's Mbulelo's favorite thing is like he loves exclusivity. He doesn't like inclusivity. So he's always looking to be part of things that no one else can be part of. He doesn't want to be included in some bullshit, pedestrian thing. He wants only the best people to be joining him on these things.
Absolutely.
So what I will say about dating apps, I think, everyone can vouch. So, I mean, I think in the beginning of the pandemic, everyone was like, yay, sourdough bread, and we don't have to get fully dressed, and we don't have to commute, and it was very exciting, and it was all these, but I think we really, 17 months in, we realizing that nothing beats in-person connection. It's
Absolutely.
just not the same. And I think the same would be true of dating apps. So yes, it might facilitate meetings, but I mean, at which point, I've got a question. I mean, what do you put on your dating? I mean, is like being vaccinated something you would now
Probably
put on your dating profile? Or, I mean, how do you manage the pandemic in it?
On one of the dating apps, there's actually, where you say you mail or your height and stuff, there's a logo that pops up and says vaccinated.
Really?
Wow.
Because I mean, that's kind of, I mean, we're all so scared of people now that, there's a whole lot of added set of criteria if I was dating now that I would kind of want to know before I had an in-person connection.
Yeah,
true.
If you drink instant coffee, I don't want to meet you. They should make that a thing. Like,
couldn't agree more.
Yeah, I do. Do you
could
drink
not agree more.
Anybody who's ever said Jacobs is so good, sorry, you're dead to me. You're not allowed.
I'm with you. Dead to me. And if you don't, and also if you don't eat avocado,
who are these monsters?
Dead.
Who are
Dead
they?
All right, listen, we got to wrap this up. It's already 8 o'clock. So, Sarah, where can people find out more about Clicked, your business, and if they need to hear, especially about the stuff that you do for parents, to help them with their kids and digital devices and all that stuff.
And we also help grown-ups, manage digital burnout in companies as well. So www.clicked.co.za.
KLIKD.co.za. That's Sarah's business. And if you need her help, she's waiting to help you. And there are lots of us who need her help at this point. All right. Don't get burnt out, everybody. Have a good Wednesday. We will see you tomorrow at 6 a.m.
Thanks, guys.
The day. Cheers, Sarah. Good to see
Bye.
you. Thanks for joining us,
You
Flax.
too.
Good to have you on
Thanks
the
for
show.
having me.
Always good. All right. Mbulelo and I will see you tomorrow. Flax and Sarah are too busy. They can't join us tomorrow.